Hi, everyone. Happy Thursday. Dr. Staci here. I'm so excited you all decided to join us this evening. I am joined with my beautiful co-host, Miss Marci Preble. We are both senior presidential directors with LifeWave, and we are going to be interviewing two amazing women this evening. I'm going to be interviewing them, and then she is going to be sharing the science and tech with you afterwards. So before we get started, I do want to share with you our disclaimer. The information that we're going to be sharing tonight is for informational purposes only. Nothing here is intended to prevent, treat, cure, or diagnose anyone of any illness. If you are pregnant or nursing, of course, please check with your doctor, your practitioner. And if you're on any medications or have any questions in regards to your healthcare and what's going on with you, check with your physician or your healthcare practitioner for that information. So if you're a guest tonight, thank you for joining us. We're so excited that you decided to be here and hear about LifeWave and hear the testimonials from our two wonderful women that are going to share tonight. So first of all, I'm going to get started with Laura. Laura, tell us, hello, thank you for being here. Tell us a little bit about yourself. So who introduced you to LifeWave? How long have you been using the patches, and kind of paint a picture of before, and then we really want to hear, what's been happening since you started patching.
Okay, I stumbled into the patches on a search for my dad because he had bone-on-bone knee, and I knew there was something with stem cells that had to be available because I had learned from someone I had listened to. His name is Michael Jaco, and I think we all know who he is. Mm-hmm. So I was looking and I noticed one of my schoolmates, Todd Smith, was using the patch to help I'm an art teacher, substitute teacher. So I've substitute taught all around West Michigan. So I recognized this student in the video he was posting with, and I knew she was one of my students that never showed up to school because of headaches. And he let her tell her story, and I'm like, I was contacting him within that minute. And he was right with me, and he says, let's get you patched. And I'm like, but it's for my dad. This is for my dad. He goes, well, let's just see what it does for you and then go from there. And I'm like, oh, well, okay. And that moment when you realize you don't think you have pain, but you've been dealing with tons of pain, boatloads of pain that you haven't recognized. About 7 years ago, I don't know if you can see, I was attacked viciously by our dog that had been rehomed from my son's house to our house and back and forth. The dog didn't know who was Alpha. And I had spent the day helping my daughter-in-law. The dog was at my son's house. I went to go and do a painting party and was going to my car, and the dog jumped the fence and attacked me. So since 7 years ago, this arm has felt I won't call it neuropathy, but I will call it dark and heavy. I don't know how to describe it. So when he put that patch on me, within like 30 seconds, I'm not kidding, I started feeling twinkly, prickly nerve endings, waking up like an old asleep limb was starting to wake up. And it was from here all the way up to these 3 fingers, like sparkle, sparkle.
Wow.
Yeah, I never really had full strength in this arm. I love to paint murals. I love to climb scaffolding. Todd's a painter himself. He knows what that, I don't know what it is. You get kind of addicted to climbing scaffolding. It's one of those things I have to do, but I have not done it in a while because I've been afraid of, well, this goes numb. I drop things. I don't have full strength. Now, since I've been patching, that was early March, I have full strength. This hand, I can pick up a milk jug, don't drop it or anything, pick up buckets. This thumb doesn't dislocate anymore. So, and that's because the top group of muscles was overworking and pulling on this tarsal.
Wow.
So I don't know how to explain it better, but this wasn't doing anything and this was doing all the work. So I'm happy with this, and it doesn't hurt when I shake it anymore. Like it would hurt like horrible toothache pain through every bone if my grandson would like to shake my hand like that. And I'm like, you can't do that with that hand. The other thing I've noticed is I have always had pain in my shoulder going up here, causing headaches. So those have gone away. I did have one today because there was a storm last night and we had lightning most of the night, and I didn't sleep because of the lightning. So I put the patch directly right here.
Yeah.
The X39, just boom. And in 5 minutes it was gone. So I'm keeping it there so I can save it for when I sleep tonight. The X39 seems to make me feel sleepy.
Okay.
So I use it at night. I'll use my Eons in the daytime. And I've tried using the SP6 for weight loss, and I've actually gotten rid of a lot of my ankle swelling. I didn't realize I had a lot of ankle swelling, but I really did. There's so much. And then with my dad, I have to just tell about my dad really quick.
Please tell us about your dad quickly. Yes.
My dad is 87 years old. He will be 88 this fall. And he went to his Talons Out honors flight in Washington, D.C. in a wheelchair. And it just really tore him up that he had to go through Washington, D.C. in a wheelchair. He did not enjoy that. He is a walker, but his knee is bone on bone. So there's no way he would have made it through all of that touring around on foot. So he's been in his rocking chair, rocking all day, going nowhere. And it was really scaring me because if he falls, it's not a good thing.
Right.
And my mom is in her late 80s as well. So I was looking for this for him, and he's been patching. I gave him the patches as soon as I was patched at Todd's. I just went straight from Todd's to their house. And he tried the patches on his knee, the Eon and the X39. That's all we had at the time. I bought like $70 worth of, can you give me a fix of patches, Todd? So my dad, after 2 days of patching, he says, how do we get more? Just tell me, how do we get more? So I asked Todd, and then that's when we placed a silver pack for me to split with them. And then they ended up just shortly after that placing a gold pack. And that's how.
And how's your dad doing now?
He has been walking around, going from sitting all day in his chair to walking around the house outside 5 times. He does 5 to 10 laps around the house outside. And he kind of feels like, he says, I think this is kind of really working. I think probably maybe by my birthday, I'll be feeling really good. He does have some tendon, probably needs to be mended in the tendon. So I want to get the one for tissue repair.
Carnosine.
Yeah, the carnosine. And he had a piece of cancer removed from the back of his head. I have pictures of that. So within days, it was all healed up and you can't even see the scar.
Oh, wow.
And it was the size of a nickel, like back of his head. And his hair is turning darker, like not gray anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm noticing something about his skin tone that it looks like, when you hold a newborn baby and they have all those little beautiful capillaries going in little beautiful designs in their skin. I can see that in his skin.
Wow.
Where it used to be pale. He's blushing all the time now. So I'm so happy. My mom's been patching with him. I'm noticing both of them being very more accurate with their words, not searching for the right word all the time. So mental acuity, it's just gone through the roof with them.
Wow, that is
So
absolutely
I'm
amazing.
very, very excited.
Wow, we are so happy for your whole family. Oh my
Yes,
God,
yes,
3 months. So just wait until what's going to
I
happen in the
know,
next 3 months and the next
I
3 months.
know,
Well,
right?
thank you so much, Laura, for coming on here. I really appreciate you sharing your testimonial as well as your dad's. So we are excited for you both. And like I said, we'll definitely have you back on again in another 90 days so we can hear your dad's progress and yours as well.
Yeah, yeah. I'm kind of excited to see about my mom's because back last summer, this time, she went for x-rays on her neck and MRI. She had that thing in her neck like you saw in one of our pictures.
Yes, yes.
So she's been patching on her neck.
Wonderful.
So
Well, keep us posted. Keep us posted.
yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. Well, we are going to take it over to Marcella. Marci, do you want me to continue with Marcella or do you need to hop in here?
I can hop in with Marcella. That sounds great. And then
Cool.
I'll have you do the science because doctor, you do the science so well. So that would be great. So Marcella, why don't you tell us a little bit about what happened to you? What was going on in your life? Who introduced you to LifeWave and what's going on now? And I do have pictures ready. So as you're talking, I
Okay.
can share pictures when you tell me to.
Okay. Well, my life has been a life of a lot of pain and muscle problems and just a lot of different things. And I've been looking a long time and dealing with a lot of different companies, like wellness companies and that, to feel better. I'm 67 years old, but I feel better now than I did when I was in my 30s. What happened, one of my major problems was in 2020, my doctor found my hairdresser found a spot in my head that needed looked at. So I went to my doctor, he referred me to a dermatologist. But at that time, COVID hit. So my doctor that he referred to me to got COVID. So we'll fast forward up to 2022. We went in May. My husband and I both went to have some things checked, and I had a basal cell carcinoma on my scalp. So I said, well, I'm going to get it checked. And the doctor that looked at it said, okay, it's not that big, couple stitches probably, and you'll be fine. So I went and had it done. It was more than a couple stitches. It was like 20 on the outside. I don't know how many on the inside of my scalp, but I was in excruciating pain. My friend Sharon Wetch and Andy Watkins, I'm kind of nervous.
You're doing great, Marcella. Go ahead.
She had tried to get me into looking into the stem cells a long time ago when she first got into it. And I'm thinking, like, I was one of them skeptical people thinking, I'm not having anybody's stem cells going in my body. I really didn't know exactly what it was. So my friend Sharon called me up about a month after my surgery. I was in excruciating pain. And she said, girl, I didn't know you had that done. And I said, well, yeah, and I can't stand it. I had to soak it twice a day with vinegar water. And it was horrible. I've had surgeries, but nothing like that. And the day I took the gauze off of the area, I couldn't believe what it was. It was like, it was big. You've got a picture of it, I think. The day after my surgery.
You want me to show it now? Maybe we
Sure,
can
go ahead.
An idea of what this was really looking like. Hold on, let me see if I can get that picture right there. You guys see how big that is?
It
Oh,
was
I know.
oh my God, it hurt so bad. And they sent me home with nothing except aspirins. And I'm going, I can't take this. But a month, it was like I said, it was a month later, Sharon came over and brought me 5 days worth of patches. She took a picture of it. I think it's the one with the
Look
big.
at I got another one of how bad it is. Look at that.
Yeah, that's it right there. When she came over, it was horrible.
That's what it looked like. Okay, hold on, slow down.
That's a month.
What it looked like when she came over.
Yes.
And how long ago was this after surgery?
That was over a month.
About a month you were struggling with this. Okay, so you had surgery. I mean, I'm just saying it's oozing.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Okay, so go on. So she comes over, she sees this, and then what happens?
And she freaked out and she patched me up.
What did she patch you up with?
X39 and neon.
Okay, and then what happens?
Then I did it for the next couple of days, and I couldn't. The very next day, after being patched, one day, I was out of pain. The one you're showing now.
What's this one?
That one is, I think, day 7.
Wait a minute. On day 7, it looks like this after X39 and Eon. Okay,
it felt like it after 5 days, it felt like a baby's butt back there. And I was told I would not have hair growing in one spot because they had to do a right. You see where that oozy stuff is right there?
Yeah.
That's where they did a skin graft because it was so tight they couldn't stitch it back together. They had to do a skin graft. And
you must have had a big piece cut out, Marcella.
I did. It was, oh gosh, it was big. I don't know exactly. I felt, have you ever heard Velcro? You know, I was laying on the table and I go, what is that sound? He goes, I know, it sounds like Velcro, doesn't it? And I'm going, oh my God, that's my scalp. But they were pulling. I mean, I felt the pulling and everything. They were lifting it and pulling it and trying to stitch it and clipping it. And it was horrible.
Oh my God. Okay. So then you put the patch on, and this is one more time. This is the other picture I have. This is 8 days after.
Yes.
And from the surgery to when she came, that was a month. And from surgery, you were still oozing.
Yes.
Okay. So look at this one. Now, what's this one? This one was pretty amazing too. I just, tell me about, what's that?
This one is 10 or 11 days after. That area right there, they told me I would never have any hair. And if you blow it up, you could see little hair sprongs coming in.
You mean the part in the middle? That was the part that had the graft, right? That was oozing. So the part that was oozing 10 days later, did I say right? 10 days later, now
yes,
has hair coming out of it.
Yes.
Wow. That's crazy.
And you have a picture of my hair now.
I know I may, but I don't think I got that one.
Well,
for the 4 I got.
I'm just going to say that when my daughter-in-law came over, she goes, your hair is so thick. And I've not had thick hair since I was in my 30s.
I mean, I just look at you right now. I'm just saying, like looking at you now and looking at what your back of the head looked like then. Your hair does.
I mean, look.
Yeah, show us. I mean, look at that. But shake it. I mean, my goodness gracious.
It's wonderful. My hair has not been this full. I just washed my hair. I didn't even blow dry it or anything. It's this.
I would say wound healing and hair X39. I don't know what else to say, doctor. I mean, Marcella.
I know, I'm happy.
How long have you used the patches total?
I've been on the patches since August. I started with the 5-day, and then I asked Andy to give me some more while my order came in, and she brought me some more so I wouldn't have a lapse. So I've been on since I think it was almost the end of the month of July when Sharon brought him over. It might have been 5 or 6 weeks into my surgery. It was so painful. I don't really recollect the exact date, but I know for sure it was 5 days to the time that my skin after patching felt like a baby's butt back there.
How many?
I mean, literally
5?
5 days.
The people want to know, where did you patch?
I patched where on the neck, on the vertebrae, you know,
Yeah.
the
Right.
eon, the vertebrae
Yep.
above, and then the eon and on the seventh vertebrae. I mean the X39.
You put X39 and Eon right below the back of your neck. You just put it right there, both of them there. Is that right?
Yes. Well,
So,
one above and one below.
One above and one below. Got it. Wow.
And then
Yep.
I've been doing carnosine and eon and X39 and occasionally X49.
Uh-huh.
I've even tried, I've tried the energy patches and I've tried the ice wave because I have other issues that I'm dealing with too. Because I've had neck surgery, I've had shoulder surgery, I've had a heart ablation and a lot of inflammation in my legs, a lot of muscle tone loss, a lot of strength loss. I started bowling last year and I was the most improved and the high scored. I mean, I was top on the league.
Wow.
And I have not been bowling since, gosh, 80s because I fell and broke my arm and I had no strength in my arm.
So Marcella, what I'm hearing is that in 5 to 10 days, the wound heal happened at the back of the neck and the hair got big and beautiful and it does glow. And your skin looks great.
Yes.
And that honestly, Marcella, you got your strength and your quality of life back. So
I
I
did.
want to thank you for sharing today. And we're going to now move it back to Dr. Staci. Dr. Staci, why don't you explain this science? Like what's going on here with Laura and Marcella? Like this is like crazy.
How is this happening, right? Well, and such varied in their testimonials, right, with what they're experiencing, from pain reduction to, not being able to have mobility, and then to having the scar, the wound healing, so much. So really, that's what's so amazing about this technology is we are all so different and what's going on with us is all so different, but yet the technology works for everybody and everything. So this is what we're talking about tonight. This is a non-transdermal patch. This patch is what our inventor, David Schmidt, has created. And he actually started creating patches 20 years ago. So this is not the first patch he's created, but this is the star of the show. You heard Marcella talk about energy enhancer, and that's the first patch. But the star of the show is the X39, and X39 is a stem cell activation patch. And you all know stem cells are the holy grail of healing, right? Stem cells are what we have when we're born. We have an abundance of them, and they turn into any other cell or organ or tissue that we need, right? We have to have heart cells and kidney cells and liver cells. Well, we also have stem cells that are in our body that are just stem cells for that purpose of repair and regeneration through our life. Well, as we age, we have less and less active stem cells. And so our body starts to degenerate, right? That degeneration process, the decline, the aging process. And by the time you're in your 30s, you have half of the stem cells you did when you were a child that are active. And by the time you are in your 60s, you have less than 10%. So as you could see from Marcella, I don't know how old you are, but if I'm guessing you're past your 30s, so she said maybe in her 60s. So she has about 10% of her body's ability to repair, which is why you saw that wound that took a month and nothing had happened. It actually looked almost worse than it did right after the immediate surgery. But when she put this patch on, it woke up her stem cells, it activated them, it mobilized them, it got them to start working again to go to repair and regenerate what was needed. And that's why you saw such dramatic process, right? Like this fast. And while you heard with Laura, within seconds, she could feel something different, right? Well, how is that happening? This patch, when you apply it to your body, it works with your body's light or heat that you emit. I'm on the East Coast, so right now it is dark outside. And if I were to go outside, I couldn't see my dog that was barking earlier, or I couldn't see the animals, the deer in the, the field or the next door neighbors, unless I was looking through night vision goggles. If I had night vision goggles, then I could see the heat being emitted off of the body, that light, right, in colors. That is what this technology works with. So if you put your hand on your chest, you're about 98.6-ish, unless you live in Florida, and we tend to run a lot hotter down here because of the heat. But when you emit that heat, that is what is communicating with this patch. Okay, so embedded in the patch is what David Schmidt has invented. It's a proprietary blend of organic amino acids, oxygen, water, sugars. They form together to form a crystal lattice structure, not a crystal like an amethyst or a clear quartz crystal. These are not crystals that you get out of the ground. These are molecules, compounds that come together to form a lattice structure. That's embedded in that white part, okay? So it does not enter our body. That's what I mean when I say non-transdermal. Nothing is transferring in. And so we put the patch on, our body's light hits that lattice structure and reflects back a very specific wavelength of light into our body. That wavelength of light elevates a peptide known as GHKCU copper peptide. That peptide is responsible for so many things, but one of the things that it does is reset a third of your genes back to their young, youthful, healthy state immediately. So when these ladies started to feel things within seconds or minutes or even days, that elevation of GHK is what was doing that. GHKCU declines as we age, just like our stem cell production does. And so this patch elevates that. You can go to startx39now.com and you can see all of our clinical studies on the X39 stem cell activation patch. David has independent doctors' labs. We have double-blind placebo studies that show the elevation of GHKCU copper peptide in the blood. And of course, then what happens is one of those genes that is reset, P63, is responsible for mobilizing stem cells, activating, elevating stem cells. So it wakes up your old tired stem cells and says, let's go. Let's do what you did when you were a kid. Get to this area. Let's heal this lady's body, right? The patch isn't healing. The body is. Your stem cells go to work. They know what to do because now they're back on board again, right? And so how long you want to use this patch is really dependent on your age and your goals, honestly. We recommend 1 month for every decade you are old. So if you're in your 40s, 4 months, 50s, 5 months, 60s, 6 months. But I always tell people, stop patching whenever you want to start aging again. If you look at our clinical studies, you will see the longer you patch, the more benefits you will have. Remember, I said it elevates your GHK, resets a third of your genes express to other genes, 1 or 2 other genes throughout the body. So there is a compound effect. So Marci's been patching for almost 4 years. I've been patching for over 2 years. Why are we patching? Well, we are not only repairing and regenerating everything in our body, all the cells, all the tissues, all the organs back to age 25, right? Our body's actually functioning as if it were younger because of the repair and regeneration process and the consistency with that compound effect. So no matter what's going on with you, no matter what's on your grocery list of problems, your body wants to get back into balance. It wants to get back into homeostasis. And this patch is the patch that is going to do that. Now, you heard them mention some other patches. We do like to partner this with Eon. Eon is a patch that reduces inflammation. You know, inflammation is the root of disease in the physical body. So when we reduce that inflammation as we're elevating our stem cell production, you do tend to see a more rapid, dramatic repair and regeneration process. So what we want you to do is get back with the person that invited you tonight. They're going to help you get set up with a pack that works best for you and the patches that work best for you. And as you heard, Laura mentioned, she said, well, we started with the silver and then my mom and dad got a gold pack. There are different packs. And so you can pick whichever works best for you, but always know you have the ability to purchase at wholesale price, never having to pay retail. And you can always order whatever you want, whenever you want. So with that, Marci, thank you, Laura. Thank you, Marcella, for being here tonight. I'm going to go ahead and end our call for this evening. So for those of you that are guests, thank you for being here. Get back with that person that invited you. And I'm going to go ahead and stop our recording.